Hey investie besties, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are a returning investie bestie, thank y'all so much for coming back. I do appreciate all of you guys being here with me today. So you guys saw the thumbnail. We're going to be talking about the housing market of 2022, and I'm going to be actually sharing our experience with you guys and giving you some tips and tricks of the things that we actually use to actually get our offer accepted last year and what will work for us this year. Okay guys, so I wanted to make sure that I stay transparent, because you guys know I always keep it real, and I wanted to really show you guys how you can get your offer accepted in this housing market and how it doesn't have to be as stressful for you. Okay guys, so if that sounds interesting to you, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let's get right into this. So I do have my index card because you guys know I got to keep my notes. It helps me stay on track when it comes to these videos. So before I get into like all of the tips, I want to just give you some background in terms of us. So we are buying our fourth property, so our third rental, and we own our main home. So some of the strategic ideas behind our rental journey is that we were looking for townhomes that have 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathroom, finished basement. We're looking for like somewhere for a tenant to be able to park. We're looking for a yard space. It could be a front yard or a backyard, and we're looking for a decent neighborhood, right? A decent neighborhood with a good school, because a lot of our tenants have children. So when we combine a lot of this, we have been having really good success with finding and keeping tenants. Now, that does not mean that we don't have tenants that pay late, because we do, but they do pay. And that's the point of, getting into real estate, is that you want the tenant to actually pay. And I'll just tell you guys, most tenants pay late. Most of them do pay late. Okay guys, so when you're getting into real estate, you want to be a landlord, you want to invest in rental properties, most tenants do pay late, which is why it's important for you to be able to carry the mortgage yourself. And this applies to if you're looking for your own personal property for you to live in. Your first home also can apply as well. You want to make sure that you can comfortably afford your mortgage payments, because at the end of the day, it's your name on the deed. It's our name on the deed. So we have to make sure that we can actually carry the cost of, purchasing a home. Okay. So again, fourth house. So we've been through this a couple times. We bought a house last year in the thick of this housing craziness, and we're about to go through it again. And I can tell you guys, it really does work, and I'm going to show you guys how it worked for us, and hopefully it can work for you. Okay, if you want to get rentals, if you want to buy your first home, this can work. And I'm going to be really real with you guys. Okay, your sis is going to be real with you. Okay, because I want you to be able to get the house that you want. Okay, so if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my index cards. So the first tip that I would tell you guys is about your pre-approval process. So you go to a bank, you have to get a pre-approval, you fill out the application. Now I know in the housing markets of old, and keep in mind, all the tips that I'm going to give today applies to this housing market, because I wouldn't even think about the housing markets from, let's say, 3 years ago. It's a totally different ball game out here. So again, like I said, all these tips are going to be for this housing market craziness. Okay, so if you're looking to buy a house in the next year to 3 years, no, I do not think the housing market is going to crash. This is not like 2008, where there was a lot of subprime lending, meaning people who were making like $17,000 were getting mortgages for $400,000. That's not happening right now. A lot of people saved a lot of money. A lot of people got stimulus checks. A lot of people got the child tax credit. A lot of people were working from home. A lot of companies are still working from home and have been transitioning to that full time. So a lot of people have saved a lot, and they want more space. They want more room. So they can move to the Midwest and not have to live in New York City, where it costs so much to live. And the people can actually afford, they're good applicants. Okay, they have good credit scores, they have cash that they're putting down. Yes, there are some companies that are buying properties, but most of the people we've come in contact with, again, I'm not reading about what's on the news, because a lot of that can be sensationalized, but what we've seen is regular people that have $100,000 saved. Again, stimulus. They haven't had to go to work. They haven't had to pay a lot for childcare, because they've been in the same house working and going to school and things like that. So they have a lot of money, and they are really itching to get a bigger space. So I would say the first thing that you need to do is really make sure that you are a great applicant. You want to make sure you have a good credit score. You don't have to have an excellent credit score, but you want to make sure that you have a good credit score. So that means start tackling those high interest debts. I can tell you that the bureaus do not like personal loans, car loans, and credit card. They'll give you like the side eye with, like your student loans, but in terms of what they really rank heavily is your credit cards, your personal loans, and those car loans, okay? Especially if you have high interest rates. So make sure you focus on paying those down first. The next thing you want to make sure you do is you have some money for a down payment, okay? You want to make sure that you can put something down. And this will go on into like the next point I want to make, not the next tip, but the next point about this is that when it comes to loan types. Now, again, in this market, it's different. You want to make sure that if you can get a conventional mortgage, get a conventional mortgage. I've been out here in these streets where the sellers won't even look at FHA. Now, they can't say, no, I don't want any FHA, but I mean, the word gets around. Nobody's looking at FHA. Nobody's really looking at VA. They're looking at conventional or cash. So make sure you get a conventional mortgage if you can. Okay, guys? Another thing is that do not expect any down payment assistance. I know that you may think, you know, I want to get some help with closing costs in this market where if you show up to an open house, there's 20 other people there, or if you book an appointment to see a house privately. I'm telling you guys, I've experienced this. We arrived to go see a house and there's already an agent and her client there waiting for their appointment. It's like, I'm serious. It's really popular right now. And so you want to make sure that you set yourself up strategically. Again, this is an emotional process, but you got to change your way of thinking so that you can get your house that you want. So moving on to the next thing, and it kind of ties into the first point, is get yourself a good realtor who understands this market. That means your realtor should be able to connect with you on Zoom or like, you know, FaceTime or something like that. And you want to make sure that your realtor can actually handle virtual signings and DocuSign, things like that. We've actually dealt with realtors who had to have us come into the office to actually sign something. In this day and age, we should be able to do it over DocuSign or something where you can send us so we can sign electronically. Because again, time is money in this housing market. So you want to make sure that you get a realtor who's actually on top of it. They see houses before you see houses. And they say, I saw this house. It fits your criteria. I already made an appointment. Let's go out and see it. See, that is a realtor that stays booked, okay? Because the word gets around and people are like, oh, I want that realtor because they are like in front of me in terms of trying to get me into these houses. Because remember, a house can have like a certain amount of time slots for appointments, and all those appointment slots can be booked within the first hour of the house actually being put on the market. So again, guys, you want a good realtor who understands this, who can help and guide you, not just trying to close the sale, but really are looking out for your best interest. Here's another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. So when you go out to look at homes, this is something that we do. We literally index card or pull up the document on your phone. And I want you to do this. I want you to write 5 things that you need in your house. 5 things that you need. And so when you write down your list of 5 things, that's the only thing you should be looking at when you go to look at houses. Do not focus on appliances. Do not focus on furniture. Do not focus on the paint on the walls or anything of the like. Don't focus on if the grass is overgrown. Do not focus on any of that because you're wasting your time. Remember, in this housing market, people are deciding within minutes of actually going to homes whether they want to put an offer, and some people put offers in sight unseen. So you want to make sure that you be strategic. Now, do not put an offer in on a house and you haven't seen it with your eyes. Don't do that. I don't recommend you do that. But you should see it, and within the first 15 minutes of you stepping foot in that house with your index card or your cell phone with your list of 5 needs, spend your time looking at that. I want you to look at electrical. I want you to open that box and look at all the wires. I want you to look at the plumbing. Open up them cabinets. I want you to look at the pipes. I want you to look at the HVAC system. I want you to look at the roof. I want you to look at the foundation. I want you to touch the walls. Any signs of water or leak, that is what you should be focused on because that's going to cost a lot of money for you to repair. Like I said, don't even look at like flooring in terms of, oh, it got carpet or I don't like the hardwood. Don't look at that, okay? Because that all those things, appliances, flooring, furniture, paint, are all cosmetic. You can change those. But plumbing and roofing and foundational work and electrical and HVAC, those cost thousands, yes, with an S, thousands of dollars to replace. So that is what you need to be spending your appointment slot looking at. Don't get caught up in the fluff is what I call it. It's good fluff because I want to look at it, but in this market, we had to become more business-like. And it sucks because when you're buying your first house, even a rental property, you want to really take your time and enjoy the process. But I'm telling you, this market is different. It's different. And so that way, if you're making an offer on a house, you already know the systems, the core stuff that's going to cost you a whole lot of money and a whole lot of time are taken care of. You can go to Lowe's and get a refrigerator. You can go to Home Depot and get new flooring. You can paint the walls over. But again, it's these systems that we really, really need to look at. And I'll tell you our 5 things that we look at when we go into a property. Systems, like I mentioned, plumbing, electrical, all of it. I mean, my husband opened up the cabinets. He has his little tools there to test, pressure and all of that. The second thing that we look at is we want updated kitchen and bathroom, okay? It doesn't have to have like the latest state of the art appliances, but we want something that's updated. That is really good for finding and keeping tenants. The third thing that we look for is a place to park. Parking is really important for our tenants, so that's a requirement for us. So when we go to a house, this is some of the things we're looking at. The fourth thing is that we want a roof to have been done in the last 5 years and good foundation. This is very, very important. And the fifth thing is that we want a good neighborhood. Again, we're trying to find good tenants and keep them. So having a good neighborhood where the kids can go out and play with other children is super, super important. So those 5 things are the first things we look at. If we have time during our appointment, we can look at some of the other stuff. But like I said, put 5 things, because you don't want to have too much to look at, so much to overwhelm you in a short amount of time, because your appointments are usually about 30 minutes anyway. So you want to make sure you're using your 30 minutes wisely. That way, when you put an offer in, like I said, you're comfortable with it, which goes into my next tip. And that is, you must know within your first visit whether you want to put an offer in or not. You can't sleep on it. And it sucks to say that, but you really can't sleep on it, guys. You have to know at the end of your appointment whether you want to put an offer in on this house. Tell your realtor you want to put an offer in on this house. That way they can go back to the office, or they can make a call to their assistant, and they can actually get the paperwork going. This is what we had with our realtor last year. We told him we want to put an offer in. The man literally pulled out his cell phone, told his assistant, okay, my clients want to put an offer in, get the paperwork drawn up. So in a few hours when we got home, we were able to get the email and literally start signing, get the earnest deposit, which is another thing. You got to put down an earnest deposit. That lets the seller know that, okay, these people are really, really serious. So not just a pre-approval, you got to come ready with the earnest deposit. So make sure you have at least $1,000 that you can put, and it will go towards your closing costs. But it's like a deposit to let, like I said, the seller know that, okay, I'm serious about putting an offer in. Now, some people put like more than $1,000. Some people waive the deposit and say you can keep it. Some people, and this is another tip in terms of your offers, and this goes into the fourth thing, is that write up your contract so that it can be put you in the best position possible. But again, be comfortable with that. Some people waive appraisals. Some people waive inspections. Some people will say, I don't care if there's anything wrong with the house, I still want to buy it. You have to really look at your comfortability level. Okay. I can tell you last year, we did not put an appraisal clause in our contract, but we did put an inspection clause. So that we knew the house was going to appraise well, because the housing market and the houses around it have been selling. So we were comfortable with the fact that, okay, we didn't need to put an appraisal in because we know the house is going to appraise, but we definitely got an inspection. I suggest you do the same thing. If you feel like you can't put the inspection clause in because it's just so much competition, still get an inspection anyway. There are actually, by the way, just a side note, there are actually contractors who actually, because they know the housing market is crazy, you can book appointments with them for like an hour. Some of them you can book for the day, and it is an extra fee, but they will come with you to your home visits that day with your realtor, and that way they will look with you and they will say, oh, okay, this one you got a couple years left, this is going to probably cost you around $5,000 to replace. So if you don't feel like you're comfortable with that, find a contractor in your area, because a lot of them are doing this now, because a lot of them see that they can make some extra money on the side, and a lot of the clients, a lot of the home buyers would feel more comfortable because they feel like, okay, I got a professional here with me, so if I got to make an offer here on the spot, then I'm actually more comfortable knowing I got somebody who knows what they're talking about, looking at the systems, and even looking at appliances, ripping up floor, and they can recommend you to people that they know that will give you a good deal, or be able to do the work that you want them to do. But these are just some of the tips that I've seen people talk about that I thought, oh my goodness, that was a really, really good idea. So this goes into the final point, and that is, don't go over your budget. I follow a group in Reddit. It's called First Time Home Buyers. There's another one called Home Buyers. They pretty much post the same thing, but a lot of people in there talk often about they overpaid for a house, which they knew they would have to, but it didn't fit into their budget. And now they're considered house poor. So you want to make sure that whatever your budget is to buy a house, you have to be 100% comfortable with that payment, because the thrill is going to wear off in terms of the housing market, and you're going to have to live with this monthly payment for the next 30 years, even if you are buying a rental property. So you want to be comfortable with the payment that you have. So do a mock budget and say, this is the max that I can go up to. Let's just say $2,000. So if the max you can do is $2,000, you want to make sure that no matter how much your pre-approval is, no matter how much the price of the house is, that you are comfortable with that mortgage payment every month. And keep in mind, some mortgage payments don't include property taxes or homeowners insurance. Others do. So this is something else that you want to keep in mind and look at. With us, fortunately, our mortgage payment covers property taxes and homeowners insurance, things like that. We do not pay PMI on any of our properties. Even with this one that we're about to buy, 20% down. 20% down, because it puts us in a better position in terms of the seller. And like I said, when we rent this house out, we get to keep more of the profit. So again, just think about these things when it comes to buying a house in this particular housing market. Remember, guys, we don't know if or when the market will crash, but if we know we want to buy in the next year to 3 years, these are some of the things that you really want to keep in mind. So like I said, just go over it with your spouse, or if you're buying a house by yourself, this is another tip. Take someone with you. So if you're a single person, if you're a first-time home buyer, if you have a parent that's still alive, take them with you. If you have a cousin or somebody, or if you don't have any family, because some people are not in good terms with their family, look for a contractor that hires themselves out for home buyers, okay? And they will come with you that day. It may cost you a couple $100, but again, if you know you're going to have to put an offer in that day, it is so comforting knowing I had a professional looking at this house with me. So I hope that these tips were helpful for you guys. Again, the first interest rate hike is supposed to be the middle of March. So if you're looking to buy a house, I would definitely suggest get something under contract before the end of the second quarter, okay? Because I know they're going to come in full force with these interest rate hikes, and you want to make sure that while rates are still relatively low, that you can take advantage of that. Okay, guys? So leave me some questions and comments down below. I know y'all got some. Leave them down below. I love talking with you guys. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and until next time, you guys know, I'll see you in the next one. Okay? Have a good one.